Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to talk about two games.
Two Sega classic games.
That's right. We're going to talk about... Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, first we're going to talk about the Golden Axe.
Okay, Golden Axe is first, and then the game that I know mostly from the Genesis, I didn't even realize there was an Amiga version, Altered Beast.
Altered Beast.
So...
the controversial Altered Beast.
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about with both these games. But we'll start with Golden Axe. So, Aaron, tell us about Golden Axe.
Well, Golden Axe, of course, based on the tremendously successful coin op. The game was a big hit, a lot of fun, and so naturally the home versions were soon to follow.
And so this is a beat 'em up, right?
Yes, it beat 'em up in the D&D style or Lord of the Rings or whatever you're comfortable with.
High fantasy.
The
highest fantasy.
The game for the Amiga came out in 90. It was developed by Probe. Now, Probe is a pretty good outfit, and then sometimes they're not. They did some good stuff. They did, for example, the Mortal Kombats. They did Primal Rage, which I really liked. Then they also did... Outrun Europa. I think they did the other Outrun. They did some duds. So it's a mixed bag with these guys. But overall, they have a decent track record. So that much said, I thought it'd be pretty good when I first saw this in the arcade. I didn't dream that a home version would be out anytime soon, and then I never dreamed I'd have something that could play it. This game came out back when I was... The first time I ever saw it was when I was in college. I went to Marshall University in Huntington. I lived down in Huntington, and they had a 7-Eleven downtown. And this is back when places just randomly had games, and they had a Golden Axe machine. I remember seeing this thing. I'm like, holy cow. I was a big D&D guy. I was still playing and running games back in those days. And I spent a lot of money on Golden Axe at this 7-Eleven. They would just get used to seeing me come in there, and I'd bring my buddies in and play two-player Golden Axe. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen Golden Axe, the premise of it is pretty simple. You pick from one of three characters, a dwarf, a magical kind of a lady fighter, and then like a big bruiser Conan-type fighter.
Do they actually call them like Valkyrie and Warrior, like gauntlets?
They have names. Okay. The dwarf is named Thunderhead, I believe. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, I don't even remember the chicken. I always play him, but I mean, I've played them all, and I will say they play differently, which is interesting. So anyway, and we'll get into that later. So you're on a quest to take out Death Adder. Death equals Adder, which is one of the weirder. It's like that in the arcade too. One of the stranger names, and I don't know if that's a weird translation from the Japanese, where this game was developed, or I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. But Death Adder is a big... Picture Skeletor with a crazy, like, heavy metal cover helmet. Like a big, massive helmet with, like, bat wings coming off of it. He's got a big, huge axe, and he's a big killing guy. And so what you're trying to do is journey to get this guy. And along the way... And what makes this game sort of special is every level is bookended by this, like a parchment that appears on the screen. This hand with a scroll. So presumably it's one of your characters scrolling out where they're going to go. And as you not to spoil it for anyone, but it's that's the way it is. You find out that to get to where you're going to go, you travel on the back of a turtle, a giant turtle who has a whole path built onto his back, and then at one point you're on the back of a giant bird, which is really neat because the sky's whipping by and you're fighting undead creatures that rise from this thing's back, which is kind of weird. And then you also have to battle through villages and whatnot, and at the end of every level there's a boss battle, which you'll fight I think the first level these two big oafs with sledgehammers. They're just huge bald guys. As usual, the bald guy getting a bad deal.
Yeah.
And then there's a skeleton at one level. There's a giant knight on a level. And then eventually, you will get to the Death Adder. And you'll fight him amongst his cronies. And they've captured believe it's the king and queen. I think they're somebody's parents, and you have to rescue them, and this guy's got them hung up, and that's the game. And then of course along the way you get magic, different characters. Like I said, have different abilities. The lady fighter is the most magically inclined, and as you go, you gather magical potions, and you want to save them. And then when you hit the button for your magic, depending on how many potions you have, will be what magic comes out. And sometimes it's just like some lightning bolts or a little wimpy stuff. And then if you've got like the chick character, her ultimate attack is awesome. Just dragons come down and breathe the fire on suckers. It's real awesome. That was another aspect of the game that was really cool. And each character has their own magic. The dwarf is the least magically inclined, as dwarves tend to be in D&D. And then the man is in the middle of the road. So, but the dwarf has, his own thing too. So each of them has a different kind of weapon. The man and woman have these two different types of swords. The dwarf has this big axe, big gold axe.
A golden axe,
and
actually. They
have a charge move. They have a leaping move. Then they've got their swinging moves, and the swinging moves will alter. It's sort of a series. You can sort of tell what's coming up next. You'll bump the guy on the head a few times, and sometimes you'll just pick the sucker up and body slam him, and you can throw him off the side of stuff. So you don't just go over and just swing repeatedly. I mean, it changes depending on what section of the cycle of weapon use you're in.
And that was one of the things that really kind of made me a fan of this game, is that even though we deride the Amiga all the time for just being a one-button system, but the way that you cycle through attacks, like you said, even though you're hitting the same button, your character is doing different things, and they're doing cool things.
Yeah.
And the way that you dispatch enemies, is really different. So I really like that. It makes this stand out. This and the fact that you're not, going through a city like so many beat 'em ups like Fatal Fury or something like that, where you're going through sort of either a dystopian future or an inner city. Being set in the in the D&D universe and having magic and stuff like that is really cool.
Yeah, and then I know me and my brother, we played this a lot. This is another one we've teamed up on. Of course, Amiga supports simultaneous 2-player, and which is a must in this game. And this is a great game to play with your buddy. If for any reason you're competing for magic, you're competing for, occasionally these little gnomes will come out. They're thieves is what they are, and they will have bags over their shoulders, and you walk up to them and you just beat the tar out of them. You don't kill them, you just smack them around, and they'll drop the bottles that provide you magic.
Or food.
And so the blue ones give you magic, the green ones give you food. And so you have to, but you're there with if you're there playing 2 players, well, he might want the magic too, and so you either come to an agreement or you go after it, and you can beat the tar out of your buddy. Mm-hmm. This is not one of those games where everybody gets along. You could kick your buddy off stuff. You could pick him up and throw him off stuff, or you could just flat out kill him. Another aspect of it is you get to ride animals, which is awesome. There's this creature that has it's a little squat looking like a bird looking deal that has a whip tail. You can whip guys with the tail. Then you've got a couple different types of dragons. You've got a flame shooting dragon. Then you've got a dragon that shoots fireballs, which is awesome. So you've got and you can also bite guys. The dragon sort of use your charge move, so that you've got that angle, and you can also fight with your buddy over those. Maybe I know Luke, my son, when we play, he always wants the dragons, and he takes it personal if I get on one. And the first thing he does is come over and knock me off that sucker. That's his dragon, So you can play it that way if you want, which we usually do. So this summarization summarizes the arcade and the Amiga version, because the Amiga is pretty much spot on. There's really nothing missing. It's got the cutscenes, it's got the music, it's got the various weapons, it's got the various animals, it's got the various scenarios. It runs. It's graphically, it's as close as you're probably going to get from a 16-bit computer. That was trying to render this arcade version. The arcade version is clearer, it's crisper. The music it sounds a little bit better. But a home port, it's practically, in terms of it's almost perfect game-wise. Mm-hmm. And like Boat said, playing with one button is not as bad as in a lot of games. They made it work. I mean, some thought must have went into it, I would wager.
Yeah. Now, I think that the version that we played, the WHD load version, they actually mapped.
The
magic button.
Yeah, we use a keyboard. We have to use the keyboard when you don't have that cool. But that's a great addition, by the way. I will say that this game also, what I liked about it, it was a game that came on one disc, and they put the whole thing on this disc, which is awesome. There's a lot of stuff going on for it to all fit on the disc, and they kept, like I said, they kept pretty much everything intact from the arcade. I can't think of anything that got cut, I don't remember when this came out in the arcade, but this doesn't come out too long after it. I mean, it was a heck of a job. You hadn't had much exposure to this one, Bo. Now you mentioned you like it. Is this one you'll go back to, you think?
I'm not the big fan of beat 'em ups that you are, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that you've got a play buddy with you all the time.
Yes.
That your son's there.
Yes.
But if I was going to choose an Amiga beat 'em up, I don't think that I've played one that's better than Golden Axe.
It's real good, and I will say, beat 'em ups are not necessarily my favorite either. Me and my son play them because they're a lot of fun. We usually just turn off damage and just cheat and go through them and just have fun playing them. But this is one I remember playing, like I said, when I had it on the Amiga originally, and I would show it off to my buddies, like, look at this.
Yeah. As far as arcade conversions go, I mean, this is probably the most advanced arcade conversion that we've seen that's been done the best. I mean, like, sure, the Amiga can handle Rainbow Islands. It's a single-screen platformer.
Right.
But there's so much more going on in this, and for the Amiga to handle it so well, and for it to all fit on one disc is really an impressive achievement.
Now, I guess this goes without saying, but this game made its rounds back in the day. Among other ports, you had your Amstrad, you had your CPC, the ST, you had your Wonder Swan. Got one. We haven't mentioned the Wonder Swan.
Boy, we could do a whole podcast just on the Wonder Swan.
Have you ever seen a Wonder Swan or used one? I mean, I've physically seen one in person.
Yes. In fact,
really? You're
they
kidding
briefly sold them at Electronics Boutique. I remember playing one. They had the Wonder Swan Crystal. They had a store display of it back in probably the late 90s or early 2000s.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Was it the color Wonder Swan?
Yeah, it was the color one, and it was around the same time that the Game Boy Advance was out that came out.
No kidding. That's crazy. I've never seen one. This was also on the C64. I didn't know this one. This was a release for the TurboGrafx.
You know what? I might be thinking about the Neo Geo Pocket Color.
That I have seen. I actually owned a cartridge for it. I got on cutout at Target way back, and I never had one, but I was like, man, this might be worth something. I ended up selling it for top dollar on eBay.
Yeah. So the jury's out on my memory.
Yeah,
on which one of those
like I said, I've never seen one, so you know. But yeah, TurboGrafx release of this, I was surprised. I didn't know. Did you ever know this was released on TurboGrafx?
Well, it doesn't really make sense because this is a Sega game, and you wouldn't think that Sega would give any quarter to
I didn't think they had I didn't know Sega even had a presence on the TurboGrafx.
Yeah, you'd think because they had a machine that was a competitor's machine out.
I heard it wasn't very good as well, so maybe that's what they were doing. This was on the GBA. What's not right? It's another one. Of course, this has got wide release on the Virtual Console. The PC had a copy. I heard the Sega Master System wasn't that good. I may own that, actually, now that I think about it. I have to go back and look. And, of course, the Genesis, which is probably where it's best known in the home field when you say the Genesis.
Yeah. I mean, those early, the Genesis sold a lot of consoles just based on the strength of its arcade ports with games like this.
And, of course, the ZX Spectrum, the ZX had it. You had everyone represented by this, but I'll be darned if there's a better port of this. Now, I have played the Genesis version, and it's also pretty strong. But of course, the Genesis is sort of like the Amiga's console brother in a lot of ways. Yeah. So you would think that. But overall, like I said, this is one of my faves. I've been wanting to cover this one for a while, but it was kind of, I didn't know if we could do a whole show on it, so we made it work. We made it work. But I give it high marks. It's a cool game. So, any final thoughts on this one?
I guess the whole game can be completed in about half an hour.
That's true.
All the gameplay videos that I saw when I was looking for one to put up in the background are all right at 30 minutes. So, is it the best value for your money?
Yeah,
probably not. But that's the way all these beat 'em ups are.
I will say before I forget, and it's funny. I'm trying to think of the Amiga version had the ending. I know I can't remember the arcade version. Has an awesome ending. When you beat this in the arcade, it shows some kids playing an arcade game, right? It zooms in, and then the bad guys from this game start jumping out of the arcade machine.
Wow!
And they chase the kids out of the arcade down the street in Japan. It chases them down the street, and then here it is. And then, if you're watching the video, and then the good guys that were in the game, they come out and they help. They chase after the kids that are getting chased. So, which again, you didn't have to do that, but I always thought that was funny.
That's hilarious. See, if you're watching online, that billboard says Hikari Sweat.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
I don't.
So there's actually an energy drink. It's like Gatorade in Japan and in Korea called Pocari Sweat.
Yeah.
And so, would you drink a drink called Sweat? Anything Sweat?
Probably not, but I'm sure it's Japan. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know? Something else this game did, I always thought was weird, and this is in the game. I'll tell you another one that does it is Crazy Taxi does it. There's a few games that do it where they give you like a grade on how well you did, and it's this is another one. This one has you can get like instead of like A B C D, you can get like 4 or 5 A's, A plus, you know. Or, I mean A plus, you know, and it goes down from there. So I never quite understood the grading system in this, but. Wacky Sega stuff. This is when this came out. This is when Sega was on fire.
Yeah,
they were cranking it out, and in fact, their fire continued in our next game. Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
So, the next game we're going to cover on our Sega arcade tribute is a game called Altered Beast. Altered Beast. It's an odd game. Sega released this in the arcade back in, it's probably 88, 87, and somewhere in that ballpark. And this game is it's a 1 or 2 player game where you quest to rescue the daughter of like a Zeus figure. I don't know if the guy's ever named. It's this big bearded white figure in a robe, and he has you rise from your grave, and he sends you forth to find this evil sorcerer that has stolen his daughter. Okay, so as you go, your guys are sort of like just normal looking guys, and then as you progress through the first level, you will see these blinking white 2-headed dogs. The stuff you're fighting in this first level are, zombies that are carrying their heads with them. These big demons that come up and you have to fight them. There's these winged creatures that you have to sort of fight. And you run through this level and there's pillars popping up everywhere. It's sort of like the backdrop. It sort of looks like a Greek statues and
antiquity.
Yes, and it's and statues and whatnot. And so you roll through this level, and you'll see occasionally a blinking white Cerberus, 2-headed dog, 3-headed dog.
Now let's stop. Let's stop right there.
Okay, this is the arcade version I'm talking about.
Yeah, this game is an abomination.
Just go jump right in, are you?
Well, you mentioned the 2-headed dog.
Yes.
So if you play the Amiga version of this game, the 2-headed dog actually looks like a pig. It looks like just like a normal pig, and I had no idea that it was supposed to be a 2-headed dog.
It's a 2-headed dog. Yes. We had to show both the arcade version to figure that out.
Your guy kind of looks like a I don't know. Your non-transformed version of himself looks sort of like a generic European swimmer in a Speedo, and then when you transform, your beast form, like your head is so incredibly small that you look sort of just like a slightly more buff man with the head of a house cat. And so we went from the Golden Axe, which was a very good arcade conversion, to this, which is probably the worst arcade conversion that
I don't know if it's the worst. I don't. That's.
Can you think of a worse arcade conversion? I mean, I think I would rather play Outrun than play this game.
Outrun came to mind instantly. Well, there are. Let's spell out the atrocities here. So, in the arcade version of this, as you travel through these levels, and you kill these aforementioned white 2-headed or 3-headed dogs, these little globes will pop out. And remember, this is a 2-player game. This is much like in the same game element is involved in this as in Golden Axe. You can split these little globes between the 2 people playing, if there's 2 players, or someone can be a jerk and grab them all as quick as they can. So as you get one of these things, you'll hear power up in the arcade, and your guy will increase in mass. He'll like gain a bunch of muscularity.
Well, and also in the arcade version, like he starts out kind of fully clothed.
Yeah.
And as you power up, like his shirt rips off.
His shirt rips off because he's so huge. And then the second time you'll get it, it'll be power up, and he'll be like ridiculously huge, like monstrously huge. And then when he gets the last one, he'll go, and there's a cutscene, an awesome cutscene of your guy transforming into whatever beast that level has. So in the first level, it's like a wolf man, and he turns into this thing, and then he has extra powers. He can shoot fireballs, for example. He can turn into a big flaming like arrow or whatever. It shoots across the screen and kills everything in his way. It's awesome. And you get and you know, like we were talking earlier, it's almost like it almost reminds me of like the guys are basically roiding up. That's what we always used to call it. Oh, he's roiding up. And so at the end of the first level, you fight the bad guy, which is this sorcerer, and he turns himself into this. Another thing this game's known for is his bizarre end bosses. So he turns into this weird demonic thing that's on this big pile of God knows what, and he's shooting multiple versions of his own head off, and they come down off the top of the screen and try to bite you, basically. And the whole time you're trying to shoot him and kill him. And the second level has like this eye creature, and on that level you turn into a I guess like a dragon man is the best way to put it. And this guy can shoot electricity. He can emit electricity. The second level also has a guest appearance by one of the beaked, rideable guys from the Golden Axe game. So it's nice that there's a guest appearance in there. So in the arcade version, this is a fun game. Again, this game's a lot like Golden Axe. That's why we put them together, because it's a questing game. It's a 2-player game. They have similar elements, right? Now, back to what Boat said about the Amiga version, because the Amiga version is crap. I mean, he's dead on. I'm not going to defend it in any way. We looked at it, and I hadn't played it for quite a while, and it is a real letdown. For starters, the graphics are poor, ugly. They are grainy, and they are poor representations of what you see in the arcade. Like Boat said, the dogs, there are no white dogs. So in this version, the dogs are brown.
Black dogs.
On this one, there's brown dogs. What's their song? Yeah. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Some blink, and those are the ones that emit the weird thing. So you get them, and you get bigger. In this, there's no shirt exploding. There's not even a cutscene when you become the beast.
Your guy is wearing a shirt when you start, but it's the same color as your skin almost, so the effect isn't nearly as cool.
He looks sort of like a tool, if we can be abundantly clear.
Yeah, he does not look cool.
No.
And his head is also incredibly small compared to the rest of his body.
Yeah. There's no speech that I heard at all. No. Did you hear any speech?
No, there's no. And in the first level, there's not even background music. It's present in the second level, so it just makes you wonder.
That was strange. Yeah. I thought it was strange. in the arcade, the second level and the third level have totally different creatures, right? They're not all the same in the Amiga version as they are in the arcade. There's a bear, for example, in the third level that comes out. There's what is that thing? It's not right. It's hard to explain what it is. It's a weird thing. There's your guy doesn't jump well. It's and two players is maddening. I mean, could we tell any difference between our characters?
No, yeah, the characters are modeled exactly the same way,
which is horrible. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I thought I was on one side of the screen and I was on the other.
Yeah, and the big difference between this game and Golden Axe is that this game is completely on a 2D plane. There's no Y movement. There's no Y-axis movement.
That is the way it was in the art.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I'm not faulting that. I'm just saying that's just another difference. And so when you're playing two players simultaneously and you're both, you're going to be overlapping a lot. It makes it even more confusing.
It's the guys are small-ish, and when you get into heavy combat, it's just impossible to tell what you're doing. Mm-hmm. The controls not good. This game lends itself. The controls are pretty similar in the arcade to this. You've got a punch, a kick, and a jump. Okay, less stuff than you have in Golden Axe. I mean, you've got more. You got magic. You've got kicks, punches, jumps.
Right.
You also. It just feels horrible. It's clunky. This doesn't work well. When you turn into the beast look kind of lame. They don't look right. And again, when you don't have that, part of the appeal of this game was the graphics during that. I mean, the big payoff is that sequence where you turn into the creature.
Right.
I mean, the arcade is this music plays, and your guy goes, there's this flaming background that zooms in, and your guy's screaming and looking awesome. And in this, it just sort of goes, and it instantly turns into the creature. Let Down City. The end bosses aren't as cool looking. They're not even close. Mm-hmm. I mean, they did get them, but they're not visually impressive. Basically, you can see where we're going here. Not a good game. Not much fun to play. This game did not review well. I know, baffling statement there. Now I will say it got one good score. I'm looking at the reviews on Lemon here.
I bet it was Amiga Joker.
No, Amiga Joker did not have a score on here. Amiga Computing gave this game an 82. Very kind.
Very kind.
Everyone else hated it for the most part. Amiga Action, 40%. I would say that's a pretty fair representation of what I think this is, what it's worth. The Amiga format, 33%. Amiga Power, 54%. AUI, 5 out of 10. So, yeah, it did not score well. There are available copies of this on eBay. Should you want to go find one? There's a fellow offering right now in the States. I'm going to assume both these were released in the United States. In fact, I'm sure I saw Golden Axe at the store I used to go to, so I would wager they were both released here. $24 are best offer. Not bad. That's disc only. Then you've in the overseas you've got you've got copies going for about the same price, 25, 21. So they're out there, and then of course this was featured on some compilations as well. So it is what it is. But I can tell you, this I don't know if we mentioned this, but this was the original Genesis launch game. When they launched the Sega Genesis or the Mega Drive, I'm assuming it was the same over in the UK when they launched the Mega Drive, that this was the launch. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. We actually, just for fun, we looked at the arcade version of this. Of course, we also looked at the Genesis version, because the Genesis is sort of the sister platform for the Amiga on the console realm, and the Genesis version of this, God, it's a million times better and more playable. In fact, it was very close to the arcade version, wouldn't you say, Bo?
Oh, yeah.
They did a real good job converting it over. Of course, given that it was the launch title and that it was a Sega property, you would assume that they would treat it with the love and that it deserved. But I mean, it's very crisp, crisp, clear, nice scrolling.
The sprites are much bigger.
For the Amiga to stink as bad as it does, it's inexcusable. Really,
There's actually a white dog.
I couldn't beat this game. I tried, but I have beat it in the arcade about 1,000,000 times. And this game, much like Golden Axe, has an awesome ending. The ending of this game, you find out that everyone in it just are actors, and so at the end of the game, they all go out for a beer, and at the end, it's got everyone in, like coming out of their costumes, and they are toasting each other with the steins, which I always thought was great.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking at the Genesis ending here, and I don't think that they've incorporated that.
You also find out that at the end of every level is that same bad guy, and he transforms into different stuff. Well, at the end, you find out that it's like 6 of the same guy. They're like twin brothers or something. So they're all the same guy.
That's hilarious.
And they are just, that was their role in the movie, I guess, was to do this. Wow. They all have different colored tunics on. Again, a great game, but just not well done on the Amiga. A missed opportunity, Bo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There they are, right there. If you're watching the video version, they were all standing there. So, overall, on this Sega Spectacular, thumbs up for Golden Axe, and thumbs way, way down for Altered Beast. What do you say?
That's exactly how I'd put it. But it's cool to put these two Sega games back to back.
I'm sure that I would not be surprised if these were featured in some sorts of compilation somewhere down the line.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a second to thank all of the fine folks that make this podcast possible. But before we do, it's been a while since we've mentioned our lovely and illustrious clothing line.
That recently worn and featured heavily by one of our buddies, Robbie, on his Facebook page anyway.
Yeah, so if you go over to everythingamiga.com and you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page there and click on the Amiga Tees link, you can find all of our fantabulous apparel. We've got shirts. We've got our sort of Amigos Are Scum Maniac Mansion t-shirt.
We are scum.
Our Amigos Staff and Supporters shirt that's got lists of all of our Patreon supporters on it, as well as our staff of contributors, logo shirts. Even if you don't want an Amigos shirt, we've got tons of other Amiga-related shirts.
Got an Atari ST t-shirt right there.
Yeah, they've got a great Atari ST t-shirt. So, check that stuff out and clothe yourself with greatness with Amiga tees.
Nice. That's the catch line, is it?
I just made that up. Or actually, I think I've said that before.
Really? I like it.
Now it's time to thank our patrons. So, I thought today I'd do it in some sort of a kind of a Beastie Boys tribute.
Oh, geez.
I was thinking about Sabotage.
Love that song. Love that song.
One of the greatest music videos of all time.
Absolutely. Too. Great song, great video.
So I'm gonna do it a cappella, of course, in the way that the Beastie Boys meant it. Ali Kebab, David McCrandles, Gary Hacker, Will Williams, Ravi Abbott, Kim Tommy Humperstead, Josh Stan, Jason Watts, Lane, Eric Nelson, Graham Vebke, Paul Harrington, Paul Bohara, Lauren Giroux, Jonas Rulo, Kilbjorn Berman, Tips from the Crypt, Adam Bradley, Chris Fulton, Bigson, O'Brien's, Retro Red Fitz, and Chad Holstein, Breakdown D, Brutal Bear Kidda!
Sort of just screamed their names, didn't you?
And it's kind of what rap is, really, without the music.
Okay. There you go. You just alienate all our rap fans.
I'd also like to thank World of Long Plays for their footage of all of these games that we've covered.
You're not going to dignify them by screaming their name repeatedly?
That's next week.
No.
And Aaron, next week we are going to do another one of your favorite titles. How about doing BC Kid next week?
BC Kid. Yes, I've been wanting to cover this one for a while.
This will be a great one. Hopefully we can compare it to, what's the...
Bonk.
Bonk on the TurboGrafx 16.
I will break out the turbo graphics.
Yeah.
I'll break out the turbo graphics.
That was some new accent.
No,
you
Bob
were working on.
Dylan. That's what I'm going for. I break out the turbo graphics.
He was a huge TurboGrafx fan.
Man, I think he was in the commercials, right? Go out and buy one today.
All right, guys.
We suck. Oh God.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Until then,
Adios.